some days are just a little bit better in my job, and this is going to be one of the good ones. We're in late fall, and when you start thinking about November and December getting near the holidays, you can go back to your childhood, you smell, and a lot of the things I think you remember are meals. And today we're very lucky to have the executive chef at the Double Tree in Bristol, and we're here in the Willows restaurant, Alexia Fliss. And Alexia, one of the youngest female executive chefs,
yes.
Connecticut native. Tell us how you got interested in food. I think it's a family thing with you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I grew up and my mom was always cooking. My mom and dad were always cooking at home, and it was just kind of something that I always loved to do and loved to help them out with growing up. So it kind of just came naturally to
And typical in this area, you stayed in this area, you've made
yes.
your career here. Now, you went
yes.
to school in Hartford, I believe?
I did. I went to Connecticut Culinary Institute.
Now, executive chef, that has a special connotation. I know just enough about
yeah.
the culinary arts
yeah.
that's a lot of training, and you earn your certificate. What makes a chef?
What makes a chef is, I think, somebody, obviously having the skills to do it, but also somebody that's passionate, that, loves coming to do their job every day. Because this isn't, you have to really be passionate about what you're doing, because you have to pull from, seasonally and locally and what's going to go good with certain things. And it's not an easy thing to do.
And we're very lucky in New England because you're not very far from the inlet, and you've got a lot of natural resources.
Right.
Very popular now, farm to table.
Right, it's very popular, and we try to do it here. I try to get a lot of our vegetables from local farms. I work with our produce purveyor to just try to see what's local. I like to try to get some stuff from Carabin Farms and Rogers Orchards and stuff. When I can see that our purveyor's carrying that stuff from Lyman Orchards, I like to bring it in for.
Well, and that's got to be very good because we're supporting the local economy, but we know how fresh it is.
Right, it's coming from 10 minutes away, not across the country and far away.
Now, your experience, you've had a pretty good mentor. I hear you worked for Tom Colicchio for a little while?
I did. After I finished up my internship here in West Hartford, I went to Craft Steak at Foxwoods.
Right.
I was there for about 1.5 years, and it was an incredible experience.
Right. Well, I think everybody knows Top Chef and all of that. Could we see you on there at some time, maybe?
No, fun fact, if you ever worked for him, you cannot be on the show.
You know what?
I know all his secrets, that's why.
It looks so torturous. I think that's probably a good thing. So, Alexia, we're at the Double Tree, and I know these are one of the things the Double Tree is known for, these popovers.
Yes,
tell us about
people come in asking all the time. They're signature popovers. So a popover is really just a very heavy egg-based bread recipe, and you bake it at high heat for it to rise out of the pan, kind of like the way that it did here. And there is Gruyere cheese in them, but we also do a couple different ones back there that I'm not going to tell you because that's our secret. But yes, it's very simple. But when they come out of the oven nice and hot and you have them, they're just incredible.
It's funny to hear you say heavy when you, and I mean, this is so perfect.
Right. I mean, I'll show you guys. When you look on the inside, they're almost completely hollow.
Perfect.
So it's a nice way to start your meal,
It looks big, but it's nice and light and a great augment to this meal.
Yes, it's really, really good.
So let's talk about, we're getting up into the holidays, and I think a lot of people think of heavy foods, turkey, steak, beef, but today we're going to talk about salmon, which I think people really need to think about. They got family coming in, they want something that's very quick, but also nutritious. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to make, and then you got to tell us the secrets.
Yeah. So today what I'm going to make is a porcini wild rice with a pan-seared salmon, and it has a Dijon maple glaze on it. And then next to it is our pan-roasted Brussels sprouts with bacon and finished with a balsamic glaze.
That's perfect. It's great.
It's heavy.
You should smell what I smell. Let's get to salmon. Talk to us about, like, somebody's going to their fishmonger or something. What should they be looking for in a piece of salmon?
You really want
fish?
a nice, you don't want it to look too, it sounds silly, you don't want it to be too bright pink or bright red, because then that's when you can tell that they add chemicals to it. So you want it to have this like pale pink color, just nice all around. There's no slime to it. We take the skin off of our salmon here, so obviously there's no skin, but no slime on the skin. Just a nice firm piece of fish. It's not breaking up, it's not.
Right, no, it looks great. There is absolutely no smell, and as the novice, that's what I was always taught.
Yeah, so you never want any smell on your salmon when you buy it, and if you see it and it looks slimy, that's really never good either.
Okay, so we're going to start out with the salmon. I guess that's going to be first.
Yep, I'm going to pan sear it because we have to finish it in the oven. It keeps it more moist inside instead of keeping it in the pan the whole time. So in our pan, I like to use a blended oil.
Now, what does that mean, unblended?
Or a blended.
Oh, blended
it is
oil,
blended.
okay.
So it's 90% canola oil, 10% olive oil. If you just used olive oil, it would go up in smokes, in flames.
Okay.
Olive oil has a very, very low smoke point.
So this is all about temperature control and making sure you don't have a flame or a wrist then.
Correct. You don't want it to, you know, completely burn your salmon when you put it in.
All right. Now, is there any type...
And you also want that nice sear sound when it drops in the pan, so you know that it's going to get that nice crust on it.
So that was preheated well before?
Correct. Yeah, maybe about 5-10 minutes. You want to get it nice and hot.
Now, these are, I'm sure, professional pans that you use every day. When somebody's doing a salmon like this, is the cookery or the hardware that you're using any different than like a Teflon? This looks like, is this stainless steel?
This is just your standard stainless steel kitchen pan. I mean, some people, you can do it in a nonstick pan at home. We personally don't like to use nonsticks in the kitchen unless we're making breakfast.
Right.
Just because you won't get that nice crust on your salmon.
Got
You won't
it.
get that nice crust on your steak if you want to pan sear a steak. So,
I'm sure the people saw that she put salt and pepper on here.
yes, I just did a little salt and pepper. It doesn't need much. It's a nice piece of fish. So next I'm going to start with our rice.
Okay. So this is a long grain or a wild rice then?
It's a mix. It's a long grain wild rice.
Okay,
So,
okay. See, I act like I know what I'm talking about. That's why you're here.
no, you know. You know enough. So I just put a little clarified butter in the pan just to get it going. Now this was par cooked and back just for time purposes for what we have.
Got it, right.
But we're going to finish it here now for you guys.
So why would you use butter? Is it for flavor instead of the
Flavor.
oil? Okay.
Flavor.
Okay.
And then we cook our rice here in vegetable stock. It just gives more flavor than instead of water.
Now, is there any certain kind of measurement that you're using, or is this just you're kind of doing it by sight see, or is it all the experience?
Once you start doing it long enough, you kind of know exactly how much you need, and then you have that option to add a little bit more because nobody likes mushy rice.
Right.
So I like to add a little at a time, little bit, and then keep going, and then see if I need to add a little bit more.
So is this for flavor? Is it for moistness? I mean,
The vegetable stock?
yes.
Well, this rice was only par cooked, so because as you know, rice typically takes about 15, 20
Right,
minutes,
right.
25 at home. So we like to par cook it. I'm gonna check my salmon here.
See, I get to distract you, and see, it came out perfect.
See,
You knew exactly
nice skin
where
on
you
that.
were.
Yeah, nice skin on that. You can tell by hearing it too.
Yeah.
Oddly
no,
enough.
that's good. So now we've got another one.
Yes. Now we're gonna start our Brussels sprouts. This one I use clarified butter.
Now, is Brussels sprouts something that is seasonal? I know you can get it because of different things, but
You can get them year round, but it's a seasonal thing. You'll find them cheaper. They'll be a lot easier to find in the grocery store this time of year. Also,
Right.
they'll be a little bit cheaper, which is always nice.
right.
Yeah. So.
Now, I have to think, because I'm not the healthiest eater, but we're talking
Well, that's why
about...
we're adding bacon in here
Yeah,
for you.
You knew I was coming, right? But I mean, this is a pretty healthy meal, isn't it?
It is. I mean, granted, we like to use butter and salt and
Well, yeah,
vegetables. So, but yeah, it's really healthy. We also have your nice heavy ribeye steaks here. We have a beautiful osso buco. We cook it in the oven for about 8 hours.
Right.
Nice, low and slow.
And this is going to transform after the first of the year. You're getting a pizza oven that you get to play with.
We are right behind me. There's going to be a big, nice pizza oven behind. I can't wait.
Well, see,
we're
now
all really excited.
that's the food that I probably gravitate to. I can appreciate this, and I love salmon, as we were talking.
Don't get me wrong. We're still going to have these dishes.
Right. Okay. Good.
And it's also it's not going to be, your typical pizza place where we're doing mozzarella sticks and French fries either. We're going to have dishes just as good and, really nice pizzas.
Now, Brussels sprouts, you must have done some work on those because those are all
Oh,
evenly cut. I mean,
yeah.
What's the trick to that?
Brussels sprouts, they have a little knob at the bottom of them. They're essentially baby cabbages.
Oh, okay.
So if you ever look at a cabbage, that's what a Brussels sprout really is. So you cut off the knob on the bottom, you peel away your outer leaves, and then I just cut them in half. I blanch those for about 45 seconds to keep that nice bright green color in there
And
as well.
so just more flavor for the bacon? I mean, you
Correct.
can't go wrong with bacon.
Oh, never. But you can put bacon in anything and make it taste better.
You want to talk, chefs have to be multitask. You have three things going, you're talking to me, and you have no sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that? Is that just experience or confidence?
You
or?
just got to get used to it. When I first started, actually, when I went to school to be a pastry chef.
Really?
And when I went to the casino, when I was at Foxwoods at Craft Steak, I was doing pastry there. But it's kind of one of those things where you realize that everybody goes out to dinner for a meal.
That's right.
Not everybody comes out to have dessert after. I wish everybody would, because
Right.
we also make great desserts here in house. But we're going to finish this in the oven now.
Nope,
So I'm
that's
gonna
good.
just bring this
Put
down
that
here.
down. And we're going to show you what all of this looks like. So we put that in the oven. How many minutes would that be in there, or is that more of a touch?
It's more of a touch thing. Some people like their, we like to serve ours a little like medium in the middle, so it's still very, very, not
Right.
raw, but you can eat salmon that way. So probably about 10 minutes in the oven.
Okay,
At home, maybe 15 at an oven at 350. Ours
At
are a little
350.
stronger here, but
okay. So really, you're just kind of sautéing these things as
right.
the
We're
side
finishing
dishes.
our rice. We're gonna finish these Brussels sprouts. Get a little higher heat on these to get a nice crust.
Now, if we were doing this at home, a lot of people have gas or whatever. Do you know what the temperature may be that's ideal? Because you don't want to burn it, but you also got to be able to cook it and sear it.
For the rice and the Brussels sprouts.
Right.
I mean, medium heat.
Medium heat,
Yeah,
okay.
this rice, essentially, if you buy boxed long grain rice at the store, you can do the same exact way I'm doing, except when they say use water, use vegetable stock.
More
It'll bring the flavor
Right.
a lot more than.
So we've had these on a couple of minutes. We've had
Yep.
these on a couple of minutes, and we should do it probably in that order because these are going to cook faster. Is that?
Yep, these don't take long because I feel the biggest reason people don't like Brussels sprouts is when they're mushy. I know when I was growing up, I really didn't like them, but again, once you actually learn how to cook them and
Well, bacon.
well,
That
plus
always
bacon,
helps.
plus
now,
bacon.
is this similar? Because what you just
This
said
is a
kind of
bal-
rings home. I'm a big broccoli guy, and I don't want my broccoli mushy or blanched
I love broccoli.
out.
I
Yeah.
think it's a very like everybody always laughs when I say that. That's one of my favorite vegetables.
I
It
really
is.
do. I like that too.
I just added a little balsamic glaze in here because balsamic goes really nice with the sprouts as well. What-
There is a little bit of chemistry when you're cooking, isn't it? I mean, you kind of have to know a lot of these things, what will mix with what, and
Right. Right.
through that.
That's another reason I kind of geared away from pastry. I like to play with my food essentially. And
Right.
in pastry, if you put a little too much of something, you have a mess on your hands or it's garbage. So it's nice to, I like to be on this side. And
So both of these a couple of minutes, and then if you
Yep.
can see this is what it looks like in the end, and this is just gorgeous.
yeah,
It's really outstanding. Now, one of the things that we all know coming into the holidays that a lot of people, and no matter what the meal is they like their wines. You've selected a couple of here. Tell us a little bit about this, and then just give us some of the maybe general rules of, how you try to pair wines with different dishes.
so it's pretty much what, most people have heard before. Whites usually go really well with fish. So for this one, I picked a Chardonnay and I picked a Sauvignon Blanc. It would also go very well with a nice light red because you have those Brussels sprouts with that bacon and that balsamic. You have the mushrooms in this rice. The salmon, I didn't get to tell you, but we did a Dijon maple glaze on it when we
Oh.
put it in the oven. So you can do a lighter red as well. When you're doing your beef dishes, your heavy beef dishes, that's when you want your Cabernets and your, Pinot
Is that all
Noirs
just
and-
chemical or taste buds, or why
It's-
do they say that?
Personally, I don't. It's just they're heavier
too.
wines. It's
Yeah.
a heavier beef. When you have a nice ribeye steak and you have that fat, you need something to help cut it. And I really think that those red grapes help break that
Right.
up. Opposed to if you had it with a Sauvignon Blanc, a nice ribeye, I don't think it would. I don't think it would complement the dish really well.
Excellent dish. As much as I love to cook, I think I'd like to come out and have you do it instead here
Yes,
at the Double
please.
Tree at Willows. Alexia Fliss, thank you so much. Alexia Fliss, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. If you could only have Smell TV, you would love it. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you
have
so
a
much.
great holidays as we're coming up, and just an excellent dish.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this edition of Uniquely Bristol. We're very thankful you decided to spend time and join us. We want to know what you think. Drop us an email at marketing@bristolct.gov. And if you want to know more about Bristol, our website is bristolallheart.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next month, be thankful, and we'll see you then.